In today's episode of Cussing Woodmizer, we're going to be replacing the blades on this EG200 board edger. Okay, so I should be kinder. This is the first time I've ever done this, and I've never used anybody else's edger, so I don't know. Other manufacturers might be just as horrible. But there's a couple things I've stumbled across working on this edger. First, let me tell you what happened. So if you guys aren't familiar with these machines, it's a twin blade edger. You've got one blade here, the other blade's over here, and they both ride on this same shaft. You've got your inside blade, I call it the inside blade, is adjustable. Your outside blade over here is fixed, and they have it fixed, which we'll have to zero it in when we put it on, but they have it basically fixed on zero here, so you have this excess room on the side to scrap. And then of course they have this stupid little floppy guide rail, which is just idiotic design in my opinion, but again, that's just me. The problem with this edger ultimately that really aggravates me is you can only make one finished cut per pass, because it's wanting you to always be between whatever width is between the two blades. I worked in a pallet mill growing up in high school, and basically you had zero off the wall here. There was a guide fence that went all the way through, and then you would fix your inside blade wherever you wanted, 3.5 or 4, whatever your most common cut was, and then you had outside adjustable. So anyway, you could always make 2 boards per pass. Your inside board was always the same width, but at least you could make 2 boards per pass. Neither here nor there. Okay, so last week, this goes to jamming up on us. The inside blade, actually you might be able to see it on this board. You can see here the cut was coming down and it went sideways. And it's not because of that knot, because we had to do it on clean boards too. At first I thought it was because of a knot. We kept trying again. It kept jamming again and again and again. And when it did, you'd see this whole blade would flex and bend in that cut. It's looking pretty smoked. It's pretty hot. I mean, I can't tell from, and we have no idea. We bought this edger used. This is the first time we changed the blades. So I have no idea how many hours are on this blade. The last guys that had it, they were cutting a lot of oak, so it's probably due. Really, we should probably change both, but this one wasn't warping and we're cheap. And if I'm gonna change both, I'm gonna go with split blades, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Anyway, so manufacturer's instructions, very simple, very simple. Take this bolt loose, so this plate, I've got the plate off. I'll show you when it's all put back together. But they say take these 3 bolts here, here, and here. Take these off, loosen the main retaining nut in the middle of the shaft, and then just pry it off. Just pry it off, which I did find interesting that the manual said pry it off. It didn't say just slide it off, pry it off. Well, we used a sledgehammer. We were trying to pry on those ears. We had our wedges here. We were putting our wedges in behind these square plate ears that go on the bolt flange. We were trying to pry behind there, and the whole plate would just flex and bow. So finally, this is the whole point of this whole video. Finally, what I realized we could do, I messaged on Facebook and I talked to a couple different guys about it. And one guy said something about, reaching in across with a bar and hitting the backside, and that's when it dawned on me. So what we did was we took our outside blade, which is the one we have to replace anyway. We slid it all the way to the opposite side, as wide as it says it'll cut, 15 inches or something. And then we'd already loosened our inside blade, and we slid it all the way over. So that gave us some room to work, because otherwise that inside blade it's right here, 3 inches basically off the inside. So it gets in the way of everything. So we slid everything over, and then we were able to stand on top with a sledgehammer and just beat on these, on the back side of the plate. Again, I'll show you when it's all able to beat on the back side of the plate. Actually, I guess I can show you now. Let's see that. I gotta try to keep all this stuff laid out and then where it goes back on. I think I'm probably already wrong, actually. So this gives you a little better idea. This is the whole assembly slides off that shaft. You can see there's rust and corrosion. I don't know if you guys can see down in that hole or not, but there is there is a little bit of rust and corrosion down inside. It's been greased, but it just, I guess it sat for a while or something and got some moisture on the bottom. But basically this was the inside view. It's just these 4 bolt heads. And so we just kind of whacked on that. I don't actually think, it looks like I might have marred 1 or 2 bolts. We were trying at first to hit a board, you know, and just have the board as a cushion, and that wasn't working. So I finally just went to work on it with a sledgehammer directly, and that got her popped off. So that's my trick that I learned, at least. Slide everything over to give you room, and then stand on top and wrap on it with a sledgehammer. And again, this is like a, you know, it's a very finely tuned milled shaft, so you don't have a lot of tolerance. If you get it in a bind, you're going to be in trouble. And so basically what I did was I put the wedge in on one side and then hit the opposite side with the hammer, because then you've got the wedge pulling on this side and holding that pressure, and then you could smack the other side to get the pop loose. And like, I mean, once I got it set up right, a couple good hard licks, we did spray the crap out of it with PB Blaster. And I sent Joe to town just now to get a bottle of anti-seize, because I don't have any. So we're going to anti-seize all this back together. We put it back together. And then as it goes back together, or once it is all back together, I'll show you the rest. But yeah, it's been a fight. Oh, so the other thing I learned along the way, there is an option for a split blade. A guy shared it with me on Facebook. I'll see if I can remember to put it in the comments here. He sent me a link to some, you know, sawmillers forum, something. I don't remember where the company that makes it, but they basically, the blade profile looks just like this, but where these 2 throats are out, I can't remember what these are called, but it just cut right smooth through the middle of these 4 bolt holes. And so you're able to take these 4 bolts out, and the blade just comes in 2 halves off the shaft. So when you do that, you don't have to take all this nonsense off. So certainly this has been hours and hours of fighting and trying to figure out what to do. And he said change his blades in 25 minutes. That's how it should be. It should not be an all-day affair to swap the blades, because this is a lot of downtime we've got now, and that's why I'm extra frustrated. But it is what it is. Oh my God, I so badly want to put this all back together right now, but I'm waiting on anti-seize. I must have the anti-seize. All right, so we got it all put back together, and I mean, like I was telling you guys, as you take it apart, you know, lay all your stuff out in reverse order of how it goes back on, basically. But we got our new blade put in, everything bolts back up super easy. We put grease and grease on all the nuts and bolts. Joe bought me the world's 2 smallest packets of anti-seize, so we had to reserve those for the main bearing. But the last thing we had to do once it was all put back together was, when you go to zero this blade back out, we just set this blade on 12 inches, and then, you know, that's basically telling you the distance between the blades is what your dial indicator is. So we just measured from the inside of the tooth to the inside of the tooth and set that to 12. We had our dial set to 12, and then we set it to 12 here, and then just tighten her down on the shaft, and it should be, I mean, we'll run a couple boards and see how it does, but that's pretty much it. Going back together was much easier than coming apart. This main shaft, it's got belts on the other end of it, which you could loosen the belts. We didn't. You just had one guy grab the shaft, I grabbed the shaft and kind of pulled it in line, and then Joe shoved this bearing housing back on. And then once we were able to get it lined up, you can put your retainer bolt to hold it all in place. And then the hardest part really was these 3 last little ears. You had to kind of pull those in and kind of suck them in with the nuts on the studs. But yeah, that's it. So it's all put back together. We went ahead and greased all this. Don't forget about your grease maintenance on these, because there is that big housing that hides them. So they're easy to forget about. So we went ahead and greased all those while we're in here, greased the whole machine. And now we're gonna put that cover back on and give her a whirl.